Good evening. This is the Rutland Town Planning Commission, and this is March 7th of 2024. Welcome, everyone. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Just going to go around and get everybody who's in attendance here this evening. So we have Sherman Hunter, we've got Andy McCain, and we've got Jerry Stearns and Howard Burgess virtually, and myself. Spencer Fenn, are you here as a member of the public this evening?
I'm here as a member of the public for the Dutail Wilkes subdivision hearing.
Okay. And is that what you folks are here for as well? Could you just say your names? Can you pick them up?
Did you
Or?
put it on the list out?
did put it
Okay,
on the
then
list
we're all
out.
set.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, first thing on our agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Barb,
Opposed?
Barb. I have
Yes,
a
Howard?
Question on that, on the agenda. This is not a 3-lot subdivision, it's a 4-lot subdivision. On the agenda, it's listed as a 3-lot subdivision. It's actually a
Yeah.
4-lot.
Well, let's get into that when we get into the public hearing. Okay.
Well, you were approving the agenda and I was just trying to make a correction to it, that's all.
Well, we'll make the correction when we get into the public hearing.
Okay, yep, good.
We're still having a public hearing. We're still talking about the subdivision.
Yep.
So we'll clarify things then.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Okay. So we'll move into the public hearing for the Dutail and Wilkes subdivision. We looked at this 3 weeks ago and it was proposed as a 2-lot subdivision. But since that meeting, most of us have determined that it's probably a 3-lot subdivision. We'll hold the public hearing regardless, because we've got all the paperwork that we need and we've got a sketch. Howard, over to you on why you think it's a 4-lot subdivision.
Well, the entire parcel to start with is 126.5 acres. And they're subdividing where the 2 houses are gonna go. One lot is 24.9 acres. Another one is 20.5. And then on the north side of McKinley Avenue, there's a 19-acre parcel. And then along North Grove Street, on both sides of North Grove Street, there's a total of like 62 plus acres. So there's 4, as I see, there's 4 parcels.
Okay.
This is being split into 4 parcels.
Eric, do you want to come up to the microphone?
Yeah, sure.
And
Over, you want me to just sit there?
right
Right
there.
here is good.
And you'll be picked up by that middle mic.
Yep,
So,
okay, great.
so what has happened since the last time we met? Let's just
Well,
review
yeah,
that.
it's, I guess it got confusing because I didn't think that I ever indicated that it was only a 2-lot subdivision, that it was a 3. However, the map that I provided of the area that's going to be built on was largely focused on the 2 lots. With the other one being in the background on the smaller ones. And so that was, with me being more familiar with the lots, I guess I didn't realize that it would be more difficult for somebody that's not super familiar with them to understand
Right.
what was going on with that. As far as the 4 versus 3, the lots that are split by the roads are already separate lots. They're naturally subdivided. They're not part of this subdivision. This subdivision only is the area in between McKinley and North Grove Street.
So the 126.5 acres were all one parcel originally.
Well, not, I mean,
You
it
started.
depends. If you go by like state rules on it, there's 3 lots there to start with because the roads naturally subdivide them. So if like tomorrow I wanted to sell the part on the side of McKinley Avenue, it doesn't have to be subdivided from the rest because it's already naturally subdivided. Or at least that's the way that I understand it from an attorney that deals with that sort of thing all the time. So because of the roads, because it's fully split off, divided by a road, it's its own parcel.
Okay, before I get to the public, and this is a public hearing, Howard, I just want you to explain why you think it's 4, why we should say it's 4 parcels. that are being
I understand the part that on North Grove Street, the parcels on both sides of that road, that's one parcel along North Grove Street, but there's a 19-acre parcel on the north side of McKinley Avenue. And that's coming out of this 126-acre parcel. And so to me, we're dividing this 126-acre parcel up into 4 pieces. It's not that it's a big deal, it's just the wording of it, that it's a 4-acre subdivision. In the grand list, when they get done, there will be 4 different parcels listed in the grand list. Because the 19-acre parcel and the land that's on North Grove Street, they are not contiguous. They are not together. They're 2 separate parcels.
Eric.
They're only 2 separate parcels because of the way that the survey was done. It's still all considered the same. And after this subdivision, the remaining portion of the center section is going to remain in the same property as the 2 sides, the other side of McKinley, the east side of McKinley, and the west side of North Grove. Those will all still be in common ownership and deed, with the south portion that's going to be left over in the center section.
Is that the pink section?
The green.
The green.
So the green section would be going with the portion, it's going to stay in the same ownership as the portion on the east side of McKinley and the west side of North Grove.
So I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not an expert on this. It's just in everything that I researched on it, the property that's east of McKinley and the property that's west of North Grove are already separate parcels from this center section. It is part of the whole property, but as far as parcels are concerned, it's technically 3 parcels as it stands now, from what I understand.
So we still don't have a survey of everything. And that's not, we don't require it. So that would come, after approval, if we do that this evening. So I just want the commission to know that. That's why there's no survey plat here.
Yeah.
So let's go to the public now.
Could I look at the map that Mr. Burgess is not using? That's all I'm going.
Okay. Yes,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question. Okay, so
And your name is?
Marcia Castle, Old Wood Road. I'm very excited for you. I'm not here to. I just want to understand the protocols and how it's been described and how it will be described in the future.
Yeah.
I'm interested why that section was designated in green, and if it is meant to be considered part of the other parcels, why that was not also denoted in green. It seems to me that we're saying in one breath, all of these extra parcels that are not A or B are considered a third parcel. And then in the next breath, you're saying they're actually subdividable parcels by the virtue of the topography and the road. So I feel like we're almost talking about 5 parcels then, if you're arguing that just by the nature of the road, you have one on the west side of North Grove, you've got one on the north side of McKinley, and then you have the green.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing kind of conflicting definitions about the wholeness or the portions of these parcels.
Right. Well, and it's definitely confusing. And that's why I had to go through it like a million times with people that like understand this stuff. And it's the differentiation between what is a parcel and what is like an owned property.
So I pulled out the tax maps. The 120 acres is a single parcel. The road separating them does not make it a separate parcel. It's contiguous. So from one side of Grove Street to the middle to the other side of McKinley Avenue, it's a single property. It's for the purposes of the parcel, the roads don't matter.
There's an
And I
easement for the
think that's what
road.
you're saying.
Whether it's not, but it's listed in the land records as a single piece of property.
Just what you've been telling
Which
us.
is a single piece of property is different than a parcel. So
It's a single
at
parcel.
least,
It has one parcel ID for the entire thing.
That's right. So if it only has one parcel ID, then it's only one parcel.
so does this town do it differently than others? Like, because for instance, in Bethel, I own I'm just
Yes.
using this as a for instance. I own 3 properties that all touch each other.
Uh-huh.
They send me a single tax bill, and these properties were all bought separately. They are deeded separately. They send me one tax bill, shows the whole area. And I was only asking because when I ask them, why did they do that? Why aren't I getting 3 different tax bills? They're like, when your properties are touching each other, we group them together and we bill them the same. So that's something that
that's
ever
a
happens
billing
here.
issue as opposed
That's
to
a-
a property designation issue. I mean, one is a survey
Right.
that breaks it up into the number of parcels, because every time you have a parcel, you have to have a survey that indicates where those boundary lines are,
Yeah,
correct?
So, yes, so if this is approved, taking out those 2 chunks, it would create 3 sections of land.
Right.
So there'd be 3 parcel IDs.
Yeah. 3 parcel IDs with the green one going with McKinley and the other side of Grove.
I feel like, yeah, it'd be a group, yeah.
Right, because there'd be one parcel ID for the green area plus the other 2. And then there would be separate parcel IDs for the 2 that are being cut up.
That sounds right.
But you can have a separate parcel ID for a piece of property that's north of Grove Street that's not touching the other parcel at all. So one parcel would not be in 2 different locations completely separated from each other, I don't believe. Am I right? I mean, I understand your point. There'd be 3 parcels, but the one north of Grove Street would not touch the other one, which effectively, other than the road, the parcel north of McKinley doesn't touch either of the other 2 that are the portions that you're talking about going together. So therefore, is that a parcel or it's not?
Howard,
I still say that.
That's what Howard, I think, is saying 4.
In splitting this up, really, you would have, parcel A, B, C, and D. We're splitting this 120 some acres into 4 pieces. That's not a big deal, but that's, we're actually creating a 4-lot subdivision. As far as the land on each side of the roads, a road does not split a parcel. If the land is in the same name ownership, any lots that are in the same name ownership are considered one parcel as far as the grand list and tax billing, but they can still be separate parcels. But for billing purposes, they're connected together.
Well, that would kind of change what I was saying then. If Howard's correct, right, then that would be the piece north of McKinley. If it's by the same owner, then the 10 acres, it's off kind of to the southmost piece, plus the piece that's on the west side of Grove Street. If it's all billed as one, it would only be one parcel.
Not the parcel.
So then we would still be
the
three,
parcel
wouldn't we?
on the North side of McKinley Avenue does not touch that parcel on North Grove Street that you're talking.
So
about.
does-
But you just said that doesn't matter, Howard.
That's what I'm asking.
So
Oh, it does matter. In this case, it does matter. It's, it doesn't.
I have a question, Howard, before you go on with your explanation.
Yep.
When you're looking at the green parcel or proposed parcel, it is actually a part of the west side of North Grove Street, correct?
That's correct.
Mhm.
That's correct.
And then how far up?
The east
It's
side.
east side, sorry.
The other side of Grove Street.
It's
Wait a
not,
sec, wait a
it's
sec.
not part
The other
of
side
what-
of Grove Street's on the next page.
Is this north, this way?
That's,
So this is all south of McKinley, correct? McKinley runs
Yes.
this way.
Yeah.
This is all south of McKinley.
Yeah.
That's west of Grove Street.
True.
no,
So that's what,
That's east.
no, that is
No,
west
that's
of Grove
west of
Street.
North Grove.
This is on the east side of Grove
Can I
Street.
see what
I
you're
was
saying?
referencing whatever is over here in white.
Yeah.
And asked the question about whether that property is still part of the green area.
Yes, it would be going in common ownership with that.
Yeah,
portion.
all I care
Yes.
is that this
Yeah.
and this are the same. It's
Yep,
not shaded, it's just white.
Yep.
So my next question then is, how far north does this parcel go? And does it wrap around on McKinley or not?
No, it's page 3 is that parcel, is a survey of that parcel. It goes right to McKinley Ave.
Boy, we need a survey.
What's a,
Yeah, page 3.
And audio visual.
No, I don't, Bob, I don't think they need a survey of anything. That 19-acre parcel, the map I'm looking at has all the dimensions and survey information all around it. It's all set.
Well, we need a legitimate survey to finalize this
To
application
make it clear
To make it
Yeah.
clear.
what we're doing.
and to get filed.
Okay,
We're not going to go with these maps.
so I'm gonna ask my next question. So that ends at McKinley. This property ends at McKinley.
yes, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. And so this little segment over here is somebody else's.
Yes.
That's probably, what is it, McGlory's or whatever that, up there.
Yeah, there's one in between McGlory's and
Okay.
McKinley, but
yeah,
that guy
on
lives
the,
in
on the corner
Texas.
here. This
Yeah.
is where the four-way stop.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
not the
exactly.
two-way stop. Yeah, okay. But this over here, north of McKinley, and then running towards the east is yours.
No,
No.
nothing right north of McKinley. It's over by Abbey Lane where it starts.
Over
Yeah,
here.
right there. Yeah.
Any other comments from the public?
Question only.
Mhm.
So I just want to summarize for my own understanding that the 10 acres that is pictured in green and the area in white to the west of North Grove and the 19 acres to the east.
Northeast of, yeah, McKinley.
Northeast are going to be considered one parcel,
No.
even though they're not okay.
Well, that's what his objection is.
So then there's 4.
That's what
That's
what
what he
Howard's
said.
trying to make it. Before I said anything, I wanted to understand where the current boundaries are. Because Howard would be, at least I believe that Howard's interpretation is correct, because there's no way for that northeastern section that is beyond McKinley to touch the green.
That's
So
correct.
that would mean that section would have to be separate. Therefore, you'd have one parcel there, the west side of Grove with the green parcel, the
Would be-
green section would be a second parcel.
Because it would be understood that the road does not divide
Separate,
that.
right, yep.
Okay.
Just to add, or just to put my 2 cents into that,
Mhm.
anybody that I've talked to that is an expert in this does not agree with that understanding of it. They said, like, basically this, like North Grove Street is no different than Farmer John having a property in between my properties. It is not, I don't own North Grove Street. It divides the property.
Mhm.
Same with McKinley Avenue. That's the way that I was told. I'm simply regurgitating it. I'm no expert. So the way that I was told was basically here I was starting with 3 lots and I'm turning it into 5. which means I'm adding 2. But at the same time, when I'm splitting this middle section into 3 pieces, that is a 3-lot subdivision. So as far as like Act 250 rules and everything like that, it's not splitting off 2. They don't consider it 2. It's 3. So it's confusing.
But
Mhm.
yes, could I just ask,
Yeah.
but the original parcel, right, is one deed, correct?
Yes.
One singular deed.
Yep.
But you're carving
One-
out, you're in the minor subdivision that you've requested, you're carving out 2 parts that then make the other sections not contiguous. Which is, I think, Howard's point.
They don't if you completely ignore the roads. Sure.
No, well, if you can completely ignore the roads. And if you consider the roads, then there are, as you interpreted it, I think, 5 sections.
Mhm.
Or 5 parcels. What Howard's saying is that the one that is northeast on McKinley is separate from anything else that is retained in the original deed. And therefore that creates the 4th. I suppose you can do a subdivision and draw the line on the east side of North Grove Street and then consider the other parcel the 5th one. But that would just have to be shown on a survey.
I mean, those parcels will still be deeded together.
Doesn't matter, but I mean, you can have them deeded together with just 2 parcels, no?
Yeah, it's
Or-
the same.
Well, that's
name
kind of the
only.
point.
Same ownership, right?
Yeah.
So he
Same
could
name
actually,
ownership. Yeah.
he could do a boundary line adjustment. Well, I don't know if it's a boundary line adjustment, but he could do a minor subdivision to have the green parcel segmented off from the west side of Grove Street, thereby having what he has interpreted 5 parcels, 3 of which are retained in common with the LLC.
So this is how it sits.
Direct.
Why don't we do this as a 5-lot subdivision? I'm just,
Well, it seems
I
like
just
that's what
don't
Eric's
understand-
advocating for. I'm just
I don't
trying to-
understand why we wouldn't.
What's
Just
that?
do it as a 5-lot subdivision. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
With 3 parcels remaining in common.
and
with
the 3
LLC.
parcels just,
I don't,
the
I don't,
parcel to the northeast, the parcel to the west, and the parcel to the south be separate, but owned in common. And then you have the 2 separate parcels in the center.
if we truly.
And the
don't-
advantage would be that any one of the other ones could be conveyed
Can do that now.
at a later.
I can do that. I can do that now with the 3. Like if I wanted to convey what was east of McKinley, I'm able to just do that without doing anything with it. At least going by the rules right now.
Howard, what's your interpretation of that?
Just a minute,
Yeah,
just a
sorry.
minute. Jerry's
I'm just,
trying to
well, I'm
say-
just saying, if we ignore the roads, as you said, and then I could totally see why the southern piece, the 10 acres, could go with the west side
Mhm.
of the Grove. I could see 4 lots, but that piece not being contiguous on the, I believe it's gotta be another one. I mean, I don't think we could, I mean, if you want 3, you want 3. If it's not possible to do that and they want 4 and 4 is possible, then that's his choice.
Well, I don't know if
Sure.
I don't know if it really matters to me, but I'm wanting to be accurate on it only because I spent a lot of time consulting with
Right.
a lot of people to figure out what was accurate.
I
And
don't,
it was-
I
you know,
just, I don't see how that piece northeast of McKinley, it's possible when it doesn't touch any of the other properties at that point to not be a lot of its own parcel of its own.
He's
So-
basically creating a boundary line at the road.
But isn't it that way now?
No, because
It's all
they're
part
all,
of one parcel?
they're all one. I mean, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. So
But-
why are we changing the rules on that one that's not contiguous? It's
But
not
they are
contiguous now.
Right now.
They're all contiguous.
They are.
If you ignore the
If
road.
you ignore the
as
roads, they're all
Eric said,
together.
they're
It
all
goes from
together.
here,
They're
starting
one.
up here on northeast of McKinley, and it runs all the way over to the west side of Grove
And
Street.
that's how the 4th lot with the 10 acres and the acreage to the west of Grove Street would still be one because we ignore the roads.
Right.
There's a right of way there that touches.
Yep.
So it would be one, but I just think that piece, am I right, Howard? Is that what you're interpreting that too? That
Right, Jerry.
it's not, it's,
On North Grove Street, both sides of the road, they're in the same name ownership. Same name ownership that's on the east and west side of North Grove Street. But on the
Yep.
go to McKinley Avenue, that piece north of McKinley Avenue is in a different name. It doesn't fit with anything else. It's a separate lot.
That's not where I was at, but I was thinking more of a contiguous, was.
I think you're saying the same thing, because I understand
Okay.
both of you. And,
Okay.
and I would agree that
And
that,
if it's not a big deal to Eric, if it's 4 lots or it's 3, I don't see an issue. I mean, I just don't at 4 lots. I don't see an issue at all.
Except that
The
it
purpose of
sounded
all
like
this.
Just a minute, Howard. Just a minute, Howard.
it sounded like you wanted the possibility of conveying that piece on the other side of North Grove as a separate entity.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't
So-
really matter either way. If I split it off or not, I can do that as it stands. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of difference. I guess the only difference that this would make is what we're calling it.
Just a minute, Howard.
Yeah, the purpose for all this is 20 or 30 years from now, somebody doing title search,
Right.
searching properties and whatnot, they need to see what happened along the way. And you need maps, you need a reference to it, and deeds and things to show it. And it's Jerry, or
So Howard, what's your final recommendation?
I still say it's a 4-lot subdivision.
And if that was a big problem for you, other than that, I think for us to clean it up, I think 4 would be much easier for cleanup. If that's a problem, then we've got to talk it further. But if it's not,
Can I just ask one more question?
Mhm.
If you're going with 4 and then it's Eric?
Yep.
Eric wants to subdivide that other green that isn't on McKinley. Does that trigger another subdivision hearing
No,
if he wants to treat them as?
if he wanted,
Another process of
if he
subdivision.
wanted
Yep.
to sell just the piece on that side of the
it
road.
would be
Yeah.
probably a minor subdivision.
Right, lot
That's
line.
true,
Just-
it's true
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
Just, are you referring to just the piece on the other side of North
Yes.
Grove?
I'm saying if at some point,
This piece?
I'm saying, looking here,
Yep.
if we're calling this 1, 2,
Free green.
3, and then 4, if
Yep.
at some point you wanted to treat these separately,
Yeah.
would you have to come back
He would
Yeah.
have to come
He would
back.
have to come
make
back.
that happen, or is that
No,
something
no.
that you could do
No.
tomorrow?
From what I was told, I could do it tomorrow, no matter what.
And-
No.
Not this, but this.
I'm
No.
hearing that
No.
you would have to come back because
That's right.
to treat these separately and to disaggregate
Right.
this from that, you'd have to come back.
Because
Unless they count it
you'd
as
be
5.
putting in a boundary line, Marcia,
Yeah.
between the green and the west side of Grove Street. However you draw that line, whether you draw it on the west side of Grove, or whether you draw it on the east side of Grove, you have to have a boundary line that would have to be surveyed. And so that would make it effectively 5 lots. So to Jerry's point, we really have 4 lots here that need to be surveyed. If Eric wants to, he can make that 5th one right now and decide to join them or not later on. He can put them together or take them apart. It doesn't really matter. At that point, if he had that as a separate parcel, he could do a boundary line adjustment and join them back together and sell them all off together. That would be a very simple process here at the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
So when she talks about coming back, that means another open hearing.
Well, he definitely, if you're going to do anything else with these properties, go to Bill and bring it to the Planning Commission's attention again. And then we'll determine, whether, it is a subdivision, what kind of a subdivision. Yes. And it starts the process again. Yeah.
In
Howard,
his hand.
they would not have to come back for a subdivision for selling either one of those parcels on the east side or the west side of North Grove Street. It's in the same name ownership. As long as they're separate parcels, each one of those could be sold separately without going through subdivision. That's not, it would not be required. As long as they're selling the entire pieces on each side of the
Right.
road, it would not have to come back for subdivision.
yeah, I think we were talking about combining them or separating
Right.
them.
So Howard, I think the question was the green area on the south side of this subdivision. and the west side. If he chose to sell those separately, there would have to be some boundary line adjustment made between the west side of Grove Street parcel and that green parcel. Correct?
When they draw up a deed for this, the attorney or whoever did it would just describe it as going along the side of the road. It shouldn't require a survey. I mean, we've done this many, many times. I've seen it in the lister's office zillions of times where we've sold parcels that were split by a road. If you want to sell just one.
You're barking up the wrong tree,
I think he's saying the same
Howard.
thing. I think he is. I think it kind of is going to what Eric is saying about that natural boundary.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you wanted to take out either the green or the west side,
Right.
then that wouldn't be sold as a complete parcel. If it's sold as a complete parcel, it doesn't matter where the road is.
And Howard's saying that the road does matter, that it could be sold as two separate ones, that the listers have done that before. So
that's the exact same thing that Eric was arguing in the beginning.
no, but the lot, my argument was that lot on the north side of McKinley or northeast side of McKinley, it's not a contiguous lot, so it's got to be a separate parcel.
I fully agree with that.
So
I'm not
if that ends up being 4 and the green, but what Howard, I'm sorry, Howard, tell me if I'm wrong. What I think what Howard is saying is that has been done, that natural boundary does allow those to be two parcels. Am I right?
Yes, to sell one of the. Yes.
Sell one or the other,
So one of the other ones.
But at this point in time,
the green or the other piece of green that you're proposing.
at this point in time, it can be considered one until it's sold. Okay, let's not talk about
Yep.
being sold because that's not what's on the table here.
Really, we're just focusing on this right now. I don't even know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen with anything else in the future, so I just figured I'd deal with that when it comes, but
So how does this sound to you, Eric? But probably a 4 lot. We need a survey and we probably need to survey 4 different parcels.
That's what the final plat would have to show, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right, which is the next step.
Yes.
Do you want to think about that or?
well, I mean, I'm not gonna just like back away from this thing now. It's a little disheartening that I'm gonna have to spend several $1,000s more for what I perceive as a waste of money, but
Well, we
it's-
need a survey regardless.
you do of the parcel that I'm subdividing, not of the other 2 parcels. And it's, it looks very small on a piece of paper, but it's not gonna be a small survey. It's 130 acres.
Mhm.
So it's not the end of the world, either way.
Eric, let me ask you a question. You have your pink area, which will be surveyed.
Yep.
To go just to the road and not beyond.
Right.
You'll also have the tan area or whatever color that is, that goes to the road and not beyond. So that's going to be surveyed to follow the road.
Yep.
And you're going to have a boundary line at the bottom separating these 2, pink and salmon, from the green.
That whole colored area will be fully surveyed.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means that everything to the northeast, as Jerry was saying, is not going to be part of any of those 3 parcels because it won't touch it.
Right.
So you have segmented off a 4th parcel. And that's what I think Barbara and others are saying. That needs to be included as a new parcel. There is going to be a 4th parcel. The 5th parcel the tree I was barking up was just to try to help you understand what to do with that. Because if you're going to do 4, you might as well do 5 unless it's going to be extremely expensive. And you have this that also remains part of the green parcel. But this isn't going to touch anything.
It doesn't right now. That's the problem.
But you're going to put in a boundary line that is going to separate it, therefore
There's 2
making it.
boundary lines separating them now.
No, there aren't.
There's a boundary line on one side of the road and a boundary line on the other side of
The
the road.
road doesn't count as a boundary line.
No, it doesn't.
I'm only arguing what I was told.
I'm not
So
arguing with you, but the survey map, like the tax map we have, which you can take a look at it. It's a contiguous parcel. The road happens to go through it, but it does not create a default boundary. a lot of people use roads as boundaries, but it doesn't create a default boundary. I think Howard's got his hand up again.
Howard,
Just want to just say that there's no addition, there shouldn't be any additional cost to this. He does not need to resurvey that 19-acre parcel. It's already on record, it's on the maps, and when they,
All meets and bounds are right here.
it'll just be reference to what's already there. They don't need to go out and resurvey that 19-acre parcel. As I see
Right.
it on the map, it's all done. It's there.
So the roads
Or
would
the
become
51.
part of that parcel as he draws the boundary line just to the south side of McKinley. Because that property line will then end, the one that's for the pink and the one that's for the salmon will actually delimit those two parcels from the 19-acre section, which will begin at the road and continue on to the other side of northeast of McKinley.
so Howard, you're saying that the new surveying work that needs to be done is just on the A, B, and C ones we originally looked at.
Yeah, the ones that when the first map he submitted to us at our last meeting is, that's how it's got to be surveyed. But this other stuff is already,
It's already,
it should be referenced on the map so that you can see what it was or what it is
well, on a plat.
on a plat, Yep.
So maybe that's a
It's
little bit of a break.
It's all been
for you,
surveyed,
Eric.
it's all done.
Like I said, it's not the end of the world either way. I'm a little concerned that there's not a uniform consensus on it, I guess, but it's, I
It
don't know
may
if that
vary
really
from
matters at
town
the
to
end of the
town.
day.
It may.
Right. Yeah. So it's, I think it just comes down to whatever you think is best. So it's not the end of the world to me, whether it's whether it's considered a 3 or a 4 parcel subdivision. I don't think that really makes, any difference. So.
Okay. Any more comments from the public before we wrap up the public hearing?
You are considering 3 or 4 rather than 3, 4, or 5. Is that correct? It's a 3.
You can stay and listen to the rest of the deliberations. To be decided.
Uh-huh.
But there's no requirement for, I think the planning commission is saying unanimously that it needs to be 4. If he chooses to do 5, that's entirely up to him, but that's not a requirement that we would impose.
I just clarify what Howard's saying, those 2 lots outside of what's shown in color here would not need to be surveyed because they're already there. They're already surveyed,
there
they're already
should be a
shown
survey.
separately, which kind of takes you back to the original piece you were going to survey anyway, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
So at least the surveying isn't going to be changing as far as cost goes.
Right.
It does,
No,
yeah, it
that's-
sounds like we can avoid that.
Because the only thing that's being carved out are
Right.
the 3 colored areas.
Okay, so we'll close the public hearing and deliberate as a planning commission here.
You don't need this.
No,
How
no,
would we
I'm
like
sorry.
to
This is the first time I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
proceed? Approve this with some conditions? Or what is the preference?
Howard, what do you think? You're the brains behind this operation. Go ahead and make your motion.
From what I'm seeing, from what Bill has sent me, there's 2 maps, plat 1 and see it's plat 1 of 2 and must be plat 2 of 2. And those are the maps that are basically done. I mean, they're, to me, everything I think is survey wise is all done here. I mean, as far as for the survey plat, I thought these looked good. The point I was trying to make out is that I thought it was going to be referenced as a 4-lot subdivision and not a 3-lot. But the
Okay,
work is all done. It's all done.
Okay. We have someone relatively new on Zoom right now. Andrea, are you here for this topic?
I'm assuming she is because I know who she is. She's a neighbor.
Yeah.
There.
Okay, did you want to make any comments?
Nope.
Okay, good, because the public hearing's closed.
Spencer said he lost signal. He's he dropped off, but not intentionally.
Okay.
He is
Is-
also contiguous.
Is he indicating he wants to?
I don't know. He just
Make any-
texted me that he lost his signal.
Howard, your hand is up again.
Just one last thing. All I wanted to say was I thought that the agenda needed to be corrected, that the agenda was not proper, should have been changed from 3 to 4, and everything else was fine. That-
Okay, we can make that part of the motion,
Okay, yeah.
that the amendment was incorrect and we're going to correct it.
But the
If
plats,
that's what.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, waiting for a motion.
I'll make a motion. I always got a motion on the top of my mind. I'll make a motion to accept the proposed, North Grove Street, McKinley Avenue subdivision as a, 4-lot subdivision.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay, additional discussion.
To identify the size of each of them for the record.
Yes. Those I think were identified properly in the minutes, and I'm gonna go
The
back and reference
subdivision
that.
notice Might be.
I don't have that, but
Before.
it's the same, it's the same number. So, parcel A being 24.9 plus or minus acres. Parcel B being 20.5 plus or minus acres. Actually, we can't do this. Well, if 19 is the full amount, then parcel C being 19 plus or minus acres and the remaining land being 62.1 plus or minus acres. Thanks for giving me all of this and having to do the math in my head. I think that's because I went to, yeah, easy math. Had to wrap my mind around the question, however, first.
Okay, and is the maker of the motion amenable to including that the agenda was incorrect and we're correcting it now?
Sure.
Andy, okay. Further discussion? So are we making this contingent on anything? Once we get the plat or once we see the survey or?
Well, I suppose we always make it contingent on getting the final plat submitted, correct?
Yeah, you have to submit it and you don't usually vote on it, but you don't sign it if it's not correct.
Right.
You do vote on it, but
Tonight.
don't sign it.
We vote tonight.
Vote tonight.
Yeah.
Right. But when it comes in, you don't vote on signing it once it comes in.
No,
But
we
if
just
it's not
review it
correct-
to be correct, for it to be
Right, yeah.
correct, and then Barbara signs off on it. Yeah. Okay, so I will yet amend my motion to say, pending submission of the corrected, I don't know if it's corrected, the, accurate
Final plat.
final
The
plat
final plat, yeah.
that identifies the 4 lots.
I like it.
Andy, you
I
still-
figured I would
Four
just put it
lots.
on the record that we did our best. I mean, I worked with an engineer on estimating these acreages, so they should be very, very close. But I just wanted to say they will fall within 10%. The total amount will obviously total that amount, but
120.
the division lines, it's plus or minus, 1 or 2 acres for each parcel. But it'll all total
That's
correctly.
why the plus and minus is there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah. But your final plat will say. this
Will
is
say,
this,
yeah, oh
this
yeah,
is
it'll
that.
be
It'll
dead
yeah,
on
so
accurate.
That's
Yeah.
why there's the plus or
Yep.
minus there, just living a little bit of a
Yep.
factor. Yeah,
I
Okay,
made sure to get that in the motion.
you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so any further discussion? Ready for a vote? Howard, ready?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion for 4 parcel subdivision here at North Grove, McKinley Avenue, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
I am abstaining
okay,
because this is the first I walked in on. I didn't get all the definition. So I
that's
couldn't-
fair enough. And so no opposition, just an abstention.
Yeah.
But passes. Okay, Do you need any?
No, I'm all good.
Okay. You don't want to hear anything more from us? No?
No, I could add one thing that's unrelated right quick if I could.
Sure.
Andrea, my mom wanted me to say hello if I ran into you.
I can't see who's talking.
Eric Dutil. My mother is Jackie Dutil.
Yes, I just told my husband that I knew who you were, and I had no idea that you and Steve knew each other, but congratulations. We're very excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, she made sure that I was going to say hi if I ran into you. So,
Barbara, on that, there should be that decision
Mhm.
letter form there, and I think I put the date final plat is due. Did I put on the bottom there?
No, a new Mylar must, well, a Mylar must be filed by, it's 90 days, I believe.
Ray's busy, but I'm going to put him to task.
Do you want a date right now, Eric?
No, that's okay. I can calculate it. He's got most of the work done actually already. So like that initial draft there was, it's already pretty accurate on those two parcels. And so he's just got to finish up, some stuff in the back, but he did some topography work too and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that'll show. I know we were on the fence about including that or not, but a lot of that's going to be included. So,
Okay. Yeah. And don't forget, it needs to be on Mylar.
oh yeah. Yeah. It'll be official. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Be all good.
Can I ask, while you're updating, I know that it costs money to update these maps, and this one is 21 years old. But while you're at it, could you update the property owners' names, because they're all outdated. There are three, like Rainville, Krasner Castle, and I don't know who
Miller and Dempster.
no longer hold those properties.
Right.
I
Okay.
believe any bordering properties he'll update
That would
up
be
to date.
great.
Yeah.
And we'll mention it to the lister's office too. And
We get our tax bills properly, but you're not represented on the map.
okay.
Great.
We made it through.
All right, yeah. Thank you all for your time.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Forward to sandwiches.
You want this back there? Leave it there.
Oh, yeah. She still lives nearby.
She's on.
Yeah. Well, she left us a note for food to cut the grass and,
Oh,
to
yeah.
do the maple syrup. and stuff like
Good
that.
luck.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to the second item.
Since you're not voting, or?
This is all I have. I
done?
haven't seen anything before, so I need this.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, our meeting's still in progress here. So down to short-term rentals. If you need the final ordinance, it's online. There is a frequently asked questions too, there. It goes into effect next January 1st. Bill, why don't you just?
It goes into effect. The adoption takes effect April 29th. The first registration is due January 1st. Because we needed to give people time, because part of the registration process is having an inspection. So it's down to one inspection. Unless something happens and another one is necessary, there's only one inspection. So, but in order to get registered, you need to have an inspection. So we give people until January 1st to have those done, rather than trying to get 30 some odd done in 60 days never happened. So
You're talking about the state fire inspection.
yes. That's the only thing that I've already had people calling asking for the form. So
Yeah, and as far as what else has changed in the ordinance, I mean, the fee is now just a flat $100
correct. Yep.
per
Per
establishment,
dwelling unit.
dwelling unit, that's
Yep.
the term, right?
Yep.
Just once
Once per year.
per year.
Once per year.
But we did have it, we started with 100,
Mhm.
yeah, a base fee
Oh,
and then
gotcha.
100 per
Right, right,
bedroom.
right.
And then we dropped that to 50/50.
100 flat
That
fee.
will cover, because the intent was to hire a vendor to help us identify and track them, and that will essentially cover the cost of that service by the people that are using it. So
So, are you waiting until the April date to do anything, or are you already setting some things into motion?
the registration forms are posted. I did put up some frequently asked questions that they've already been getting. But people stop in and ask questions, that people call and email. So it's the word's getting out. There was an article in the paper. But there's really not much for us to do. Like, we're just gonna sit back and wait. And I'm assuming once people get their inspections, they would start sending in the registration.
So you're still thinking about hiring a consultant
Yes.
to inventory or to,
They scrub different sites and give us a report and say, here's 30 sites and here's this property listed on these sites. And so we get an idea of where they are. So that way we can identify how many there actually are. So we can see if there's anybody that's
right. So that's going to be running in a different kind of time frame than,
continuous.
Once a month you go to
Yeah, I think it's at least monthly.
something like that?
Which is fine. That's more than enough.
Yeah.
and that's something you'll have set up by April?
So I'm gonna wait till after April, but I have the agreement. I have the proposal, but yeah, we just need to. I probably wouldn't do anything with it until July 1st because we don't need to. So
Yeah.
But that way, if we start in July, if we start in the next fiscal year, then the fees we collect will be credited to the same year we're paying the contract out of.
Okay.
So
Right.
they line up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Any other questions?
the purpose got a little shorter. It went from like 6 things to 3.
Mm-hmm.
That was the change. That was the 4 months.
And I don't think there's a petition drive underway. Has anyone heard otherwise? To get rid of the ordinance? Yeah. Okay, any other questions for Bill? Okay. So down to old business, and so we've got remember the housing survey from the housing navigator from the Regional Planning Commission? So I just got this report today. The survey is closed. It closed about a week ago or so. There is about, I haven't had a chance to read all of this, but there were at least 70 responses. Yeah, it's not bad. So I offered to the select board to take the first crack at this report and summarize it for them. We won't do that this evening. One of the reasons I'm handing it out is so you can take a look at it between now and the next meeting, which will be on the 28th. And there's some interesting stuff. There are a lot of suggestions. The map, if I'll send this digitally to everyone, including you, Howard, and the people who are not here. The map is a PDF, so you can zoom in and out of that. The map that lists suggested sites. And yeah, so we'll just pull together what we read in here and pick out what we think is the most important stuff and relay that to the select board. The planner at the Regional Planning Commission who did this is willing to come speak to us. If you'd like that for the 28th. Would you like him to come in on the 28th?
Why not? Same question. Anybody answer that for me? On the second page of the table, so question 3. Looks like the same. How important is doing the president? We have all surveys. Oh. Okay. Maybe I did understand that.
So the question should be directly from the survey.
Okay, no. I was wondering why there were 2 charts, because it's broken down by all survey responses and Rutland Town survey responses. Oh, there was one change. I didn't catch that. Somebody changed their mind. Somebody was not a resident who answered that. Okay. I got
Oh,
it.
and I also have a spreadsheet of the raw data that I can share if anyone wants that. I'll send it out with the digital version of the survey. Okay. Popular reading.
I like the color. Just attracted to color. That's why I got latched onto the green thing down there. The subdivision.
Okay, next on the agenda is the river corridor.
This is the letter you're asking us to look at.
Yeah. And Howard, I did send that to you, correct?
Yes, you did. I got it, Barb. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and the list. So our list, there's some repetitive owners on our list of commercial parcels. So what was 16, I think, is really 12 letters that need to go out. So that's pretty manageable. I just wanted to get a sense of whether you're ready to do this, to take the dive into having an informational meeting with these 12 property owners. And yeah,
These are all commercial property owners. Right?
Yeah.
Only.
Are these commercial properties or just property?
I think they're all commercial properties.
Yep.
All right.
We've got the pump station in there that I don't think we need to send. We could send a letter there. That would be the only exception. And I just put in a date for the meeting.
Barb,
Yeah.
question I have is on the listing of the names of the businesses, why don't we have on there the locatable address, the 911 address and the street name? Because you look at those and there's addresses that go all out of state to people all over the place, and there's no connection as to where these properties are. Some of them are
But
going
this
to
is
PO
where the
boxes.
letter, yeah.
But I mean, on that list here, would it help if we knew what the street address was, just for identification, so we know what we're talking about?
Yeah, we've got that. I just made a list of where these letters would be going.
Okay.
Yes, some of them are out of state, so we may or may not see those people if we had a meeting. Do you want to hold off until you see that list?
No, I'm good with it. I basically know what they are, but I mean, I think it just makes more sense for anybody looking at what we're talking about, where these properties are,
Yeah.
where they physically are. But that, by having a street name and a 911 locatable address.
may want to add something that says like your property has been identified as one that would be affected by this ordinance, rather than just people thinking that this was sent out to anybody and everybody. More directed reason to join the meeting.
There is a line that says that we're considering an ordinance by designating corridors on part of your property.
Probably would, if that was up front, like Bill said, it'd probably be more effective.
Make that the first sentence, like,
Oh,
you are getting this letter because you will be affected by this, like, rather than, because people read the first paragraph and
You're invited to a river corridor and flooding informational meeting. Because I just added to the end of that, the via Zoom, because your property would be affected by this ordinance, or would be affected.
we haven't said what the ordinance is yet. By an ordinance.
Right, by an ordinance that we are considering. By an ordinance that we are considering. Yeah, so have it in the first sentence.
Good one.
It's important too that sentence right there doesn't sound generic so that they still turn it away. Your particular property or some
Your
word
property
that says that yours, not just everyone's.
Right.
Yeah, if your property has been identified
Right,
as
right.
one that's
You're invited, blah, blah, blah.
And
at the-
straight to the
because your property has been identified as being affected
and
by.
that may be where, like, to Howard's point, we say like your property located at blah
Yeah,
blah blah
there you go.
has been identified, so that way they know it's
As being affected by this
My worry is that,
ordinance.
like, sometimes, like, and this is great, we got people to come here, but sometimes I think people sometimes get these notices and they think that, oh, it's just a letter and it's not specific to me. And
Because that's why I'm saying that it still sounds like your property could be affected. That could be, oh, they're just saying that anybody's could be affected. It would be nice to
Yeah.
really make sure they know.
So rather than saying could, your property would be affected by this ordinance.
Yeah, maybe even the location, that's such, whatever where everybody agrees on.
it's a lot more work to add the individual.
Yeah,
cases.
yeah, I'm sure. So whatever you guys decide is good with me.
So start with that and then go to, you're invited to a public
Yeah.
meeting to.
Yeah. Letting them know that you're getting this for a reason.
Yeah.
And if it's only 12, that's not a
We can do it here, right?
sending out the letter for the other one. That was a lot of work. This is 12 is nothing.
For the Moonbrook one, yeah, that was a lot,
That was-
hundreds or something.
This is-
Yeah, and when we get to the residential part, it's not that many more either. Maybe 30 or something like that. So go ahead with this. April 18th sounds like a good time for this informational meeting. We're going to spend the next meeting on the housing survey. Probably spend a good amount of time. Will we be ready for the 18th, which is the following meeting? Or do we need a little more time?
I'm not gonna be here on the 18th.
Should we push it into May to give us a little more time?
That's May 9th.
May 9th?
May 9th or 30th.
Go for May 9th? We haven't really looked at the ordinance yet. Very in depth, so we need at least the 18th.
So is the
So-
ordinance online also? No. it's
No,
not.
no. Why don't I make these changes, come back next time with the changes and we'll send out the ordinance. And if we have time next time, we'll start working on the ordinance. Going through it. It can get kind of complicated.
So then you would want to bump that out to the 30th probably.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Anything else on that one? So, down to announcements, we've got some reappointments. But there's only Dana, you'll be one, and myself. After the town meeting, your term is up
Next year. This year.
this year.
Yesterday. So I'm done. I can leave. Why am I here?
And the other people, Norm, Jim, and Mary Beth are not here. They're also, so let me know if you're still interested in being a member.
Just get your work done, but just let
Yeah.
me know.
I thought I was being fired. That would be. So they're going to be doing a reappointment or some type of appointment meeting coming up
Yes.
at their next meeting.
Well, the first step is they want to know if you're interested in going for another term.
If you are, they would intend to do it on Tuesday.
Okay.
There's a whole list of people that are like for all sorts of stuff. So
Sure.
Yes, for Dana. Okay. I'm not sure I'm going to get to everybody, but. Okay. At the last select board meeting, there was, an interesting discussion from the developers of the extended Holly Lane. Remember that? Remember we had somebody come in about a year and a half ago talking about that. So, they're still looking at 5 lots, but they came to the select board because they wanted, it's going to be a private road, but they wanted approval for it to be narrowed. A deviation from what we have as, as policy. It's 20, the minimum is 20 feet right now. And they wanted to drop that maybe as low as 12 feet. And there's a 14% grade on a portion of it going down to the bridge, right?
Yeah.
So
you're 14%.
Okay.
Didn't heard the rest.
they've got the water and wastewater permitting. They're still don't quite have the wetland stuff, but it didn't go over well with the select board to shorten the width of the road. So I mean, it was just like kind of across the board with the board. That's like, no, we're not going to do that. Because one of them, the safety was a reason. And also another reason is that oftentimes when they start out as private roads, they come to the town and ask them.
You would think safety would be a big issue because a 12-foot road, it only takes one car stalled
it's done.
and there's no access.
So are we taking, do we have to take action or is this
No, it's
informational?
just an announcement.
Okay.
Just a follow up to that discussion. So yeah, and then a couple days after that select board telling them, no, we're not going to do that. The property was for sale again in Sotheby's. Yeah, the whole thing. And it said it was subdivided approved or something like that. Yeah.
They never came to us.
Well, they came to us, but they stopped, they paused their application because they were trying to get their permitting through the state, but according to his ad, he's got it approved already, which is not accurate.
So maybe we'll see it again as some other developer, but
So the people who wanted the waiver are now trying to sell the property.
it looks that way. It
Yeah.
looks like they're trying
That's
to
why we
flip
don't issue waivers
it.
indiscriminately.
Right. So I think that's the only announcement I have. Anyone else have any? Let's move down to the minutes. We've got February 15th and December 7th. We've got all 4 people
Or,
for December 7th.
yeah, I noticed that when I walked in.
My goodness, I thought we were gonna have to like just, do something by.
I got scared because I didn't see Howard in his spot. And then I looked on the screen and I said, hey, it's only taken us 6 months to get this quorum.
Oh my gosh, okay, let's just jump onto this, all right?
People? Am I one?
No, there's
More than
just
4
4 people at the meeting.
Myself, Andy, you, I believe,
Yeah.
and Howard.
Howard.
Ready.
Amazing. Okay, the minutes of December 7th. Going to be a few abstentions, but
I move to approve the minutes of December 7th, since I was the chair at that meeting.
Second,
Thank you, Andy.
let's get her done.
Anything could happen if we stall.
okay. All
Howard's not here,
those,
so I don't think we have any corrections. And if
He-
they
he
had been
had-
corrections,
yeah, he'd have to abstain anyway.
yeah, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of the December 7th minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Wow.
I still think we changed the rules of procedure, but that's just
You
where
voted
I'm.
on that, so it's okay.
Huh?
Don't worry about it. You voted on that. For the
I would have looked for some clerical issues if I was there.
Too late.
I'll move to approve
How much of it?
the minutes of February 15th as well.
Yeah. Except for the subdivision stuff being, some of it being obsolete now, but
Was I at that one?
yeah. Oh, no, you were not.
Do I ever come?
Yeah, yeah, tonight. Right, but this is what was true at the time of the meeting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether we've changed things. Or that was-
What happened at the meeting?
That's what happened at the meeting.
Right. So there's a motion?
Yeah, I made the motion, but it needs a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks, Barbara.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye and opposed.
Abstain.
Yeah, abstain as well.
Wow. Okay,
Howard, did you vote in the affirmative?
Yes, I did.
okay, we're at adjournment. Is there a motion? Okay. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.